For this video, we're going to be talking about knowing your limits, where to live. So at this point, we've already discussed your critical factors, figuring out things that are going to be important for every aspect of your life. We've also looked at your budget, explaining what the difference is between your net income and your spendable income, because that's very important. And we've also looked at lifestyle classes and the different income ranges that are associated with those. And then we've also done an actual budget video where I've shown you different examples of what a budget can look like. And I've also covered my own personal budget. So you can kind of see what different lifestyles might look like within different income ranges. So knowing this, by now you should have been able to really figure out what your spendable income is going to be like. What are your critical factors that are going to be essentially your vital considerations, things like medicines and medical appointments, dietary concerns, lifestyle concerns. By this point, you should have been able to really figure out what your personal budget might end up looking like. So now you need to start limiting your search even further, narrowing it down. So say before you were kind of had 5-6 different cities or regions that you were thinking about moving to. Now that you have all this additional information available where you can really think about, this is what my budget's going to look like. I know I'm going to have around this much each month to pay for certain bills. I know I'm going to have to live within certain distance of certain types of facilities or amenities, logistics. That's going to help you start narrowing the search to figure out exactly where you're going to be able to live. So if you had 7 cities, for example, now you might be able to figure out that, okay, only 3 of these cities meet the requirements for my needs. So you've just narrowed that search down from 7 down to like 3. That's going to be a little bit easier now. So as long as those 3 cities have fulfilled all your requirements, that makes it a lot easier when you start going in and really researching each of those locations. But it's really important that you do understand what are your limits. If you're not doing so great physically, if you need certain assistance, if you need a wheelchair or a walker, cane, any kind of physical assistance to move around, you need to start figuring that out, because some of the places that you live, you're going to find that they do not have wheelchair access. There are no ramps. There are going to be stairs. If there aren't any stairs, a good chance that a lot of your doorways are not going to be large enough to handle most wheelchairs. There are going to be things like bumps and different things that might make it difficult to move around with a wheelchair. Your restrooms are more than likely not going to be handicap friendly. So if you are requiring that type of assistance, you really need to start thinking about that. If you're going to move into a place, are you able to modify it to suit your physical requirements? So are you able to get the handlebars and stuff that you're able to install into the shower or around the toilet, for example? Are you able to replace the toilet with something that's made for people that are physically disabled? If you have just any other type of requirements physically, you really want to look around, because you might start seeing that some places are just not suitable for that. Same thing with your medical concerns. There might be a hospital nearby, one of the areas you're thinking about, but they might not offer that many services, and they're going to tell you, oh, you got to go to Manila or something like that. But knowing your limits, your physical limits, your financial limits, your dietary limits, any of those other factors, this is going to really start helping you narrow that search down to really figure out your options of where to live. There are a lot of places, very beautiful places here in the Philippines, places that I personally wouldn't mind living at all. The difference, though, is they are a little bit limited on the available options. If you start living out closer to the beaches in some of these places that are not like Subic, just in La Union or Sipalay, whatever, you might find that things like internet access, cell phone access, not all that great. If you have to do a lot of things online, you're going to find some difficulty in those places. If you don't plan on getting a car, you don't want to have one or whatever, and you're going to be relying on public transportation, you want to make sure that that's going to be available in the manner that you need where you're going to be at. So this is going to be a fairly short video, but essentially it's just look at all the different factors that we've looked at so far, your critical factors, your budget, your lifestyle requirements. Take all of those into consideration with all of the places that you were considering before, and really make sure that all the places you're thinking about now are going to have those options available. So this is where you're going to have your list of areas that you're thinking about. You have a list of all your requirements, and you're just checking the boxes. And if any of those locations don't meet the requirements, they're off that list. They're not a place that you can move to. So you basically just, again, we're just slowly narrowing our search down even further. And this is, again, something that you might not be able to determine 100% without the help of certain contacts. So this is, again, where some contacts in those areas, or at least are familiar with those areas, is going to be very helpful. That pretty much covers this video.